Hello and welcome back, artists and designers. Today we're going to dive in and learn how to use a bunch of different features of the text tool in this series of videos. So I'm going to go ahead and start this off here on page 1. Let's zoom in here and take a look. And I just want to talk about some of the basics of using the type tool in Illustrator. So we're going to go ahead and click the text tool over here, point text versus text box. When you click once with the text, it's going to auto-populate some text right here. It kind of puts in the lorem ipsum thing, and that is with one click. So if I deselect off of that, you'll notice I have that right there. I'll zoom in just so that we can see that a little bit bigger. It's going in pretty small. Now let's do a text box here. So if I click and drag, you'll notice that it fills in and auto-populates with text. As a designer, I'm going to be using point text most of the time, and I typically am not using this unless I have a big block of text. The reason why, I'm going to zoom back out and show you here. If I grab this one, and just like anything else in Illustrator, if I grab the corner, hold my shift key down, and I pull this up, I can resize this, I could rotate this text, and I can kind of do anything I want like I could with a shape. Now if I go down to this one, where I clicked and dragged with the text box, and I try to resize it, you'll notice that I'm really only resizing the text box. I'm not resizing the text, and if you see that plus symbol, which you want to stay away from, that basically tells you that there's more text in there than will fit in the box. So again, 9 times out of 10, we are going to use point text, so we're going to click once with our text tool and auto-populate a single line of text. So let's go ahead and talk about the text tool options here. So I'm going to type in my word here, and I'm going to use Canyon for lack of something better, and I'm going to go ahead and select that and make that a little bit bigger. So I'm going to grab that right there, and let's talk about typefaces for a second and deal with that first. So I'm going to take this word Canyon, I'm going to duplicate it a couple times. I'm going to hold the Alt key, drag this over here, Alt, drag it down here, Alt, drag it right here, and I've got 4 different versions of Canyon. So we learned a little bit about our styles of text. This is the default text. So if I look over here, this is Myriad Pro. This is kind of like the NPC, non-playable character of text. It has no personality. It is a sans serif text. It's really boring. So let's find a couple other choices here to fill in the gaps. I'm going to use, instead of using this menu here because of my screen resolution, this is really difficult to do. I could click on it up here and hit my character panel up here, but I'm going to pull this whole menu out and have that fly out. So I'm going to go up to Window, I'm going to go down to Type, and I'm going to grab Character right here, and I'm just going to use this little pop-out window so that I have a little bit more control over where this is. And I do want to see some more options, even though there are quite a few options here. I'm going to click the 3 lines and do Show Options, and I'm going to get even more options in here. So let's dive in and make a couple different font choices. So I'm going to click the Myriad Pro option, and you'll see I have a bunch of fonts here, probably way more than you do right now. Where do I even start? Well, I'm going to go to the little filters option right here. So when I click on the filters, you'll notice that I have sans serif font without serifs, serifs, slab serif, script, black letter, monospaced, handwritten, and decorative. So you can click on any of these and it will kind of whittle down the font selection to just that category. So I'll go ahead and click one here. Let's go ahead and just grab, sure, we'll grab this one. That's a sans serif font. So let's go ahead and scroll over to this one. Let's pick a couple different ones and filter through. Let's do a serif font for this one. So I'll do a serif font, find something here, and let's find something with serifs that is easy to see. This one's easy to see, elephant. There we go. I'll grab that one right here. Let's go down to another one. I want you to be able to sort through fonts and kind of filter them out. Let's grab a new filter. Let's try our script font and see if we can find something in here. You know, I'm just going to go with this very first one right here. There's a whole bunch in there, so I'll grab that one. And then let's head on over to this one and do something decorative. So I'll hit one more filter here, decorative, and find something kind of interesting here. And let's go ahead. That one's pretty cool. Maybe I'll grab that one right here, Blenny Black, and there we go. So if I zoom out, I've got a serif font, a sans serif font, a serif font, script font, and a decorative font, just so that you can see a couple differences. So let's dig into this menu right here a little bit. So I'm going to take my initial font, my sans serif font, and I'm going to hold Alt and duplicate it right here. And one of the first things we're going to talk about is our spacing between letters. So of course here I could make this bigger and smaller. You can also grab the corner, as I said, make it bigger and smaller that way. So a couple ways to do that. This would be line spacing. I don't really need to do that because I only have one line of text. And then we're going to talk about kerning and tracking right here. So let's start with the tracking. If I go to this with my text selected, you'll see if I go to -100, it's going to tighten up that text. And let's zoom in here a little bit so that we can see this a little better, see what's happening. And I can do -100, any of those options, preset options, I can stretch it out there. And you don't have to max out at 200 or what they have in here. You can really type in anything you want. So if I do 500, hit enter, that's really going to spread those letters out. Okay. Kerning is the individual spacing between letters. So I'm going to demo that right down here. Let's go down to this one. And if I zoom in here, so this is where you get really specific about the different spacing between letters. So I could track this font and, you know, tighten and close everything up. But if I close this up here, it starts to get a little messy in some of these letters. So I'm going to leave that at 0. And what I want to do is I actually want to connect these two letters a little bit better together here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this in between the C and the A. And I'm going to go to my kerning. And I'm just going to kind of scroll down on that until I see those two letters kind of meet together. And to me, that looks a little bit better. Everything else kind of flows together. So you do occasionally have to adjust kerning on letters so that you adjust that spacing there. Additionally, I'm going to click off of this. You can do things like, oh, I wanted this in all caps. And I could click on this right here. And that's going to put that in all caps. Now you can see some fonts are not built for all caps. That looks terrible in all caps. You could do small caps and see what it looks like, but still not good. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, leave that there. But I could easily go up to any of these and click on that and say, oh yeah, let's see what this looks like in all caps or small caps. And you can click those adjustments right there. This would be superscript, and you could rotate text, I guess, here. I don't know if I've ever actually used that feature, but that is there. And then there are some other options that you can explore in here. But again, mostly you're probably going to use the tracking option and potentially kerning for some areas, and then again be able to click and work in between having all caps or no caps. So those are some of the basics of working with that text toolbox. And I just want to show you one more thing. Of course, you can go out and download and install your own fonts, but built right into this menu here, which is pretty cool. If I uncheck my filter, I'm going to hit clear all. And right next to this, there's the Find More option. And if I click on that Find More, it's going to kind of check my Adobe account. And once it checks and initializes your Adobe account, I should get a whole bunch of fonts that pop up here. And you are able to sort through these fonts the very same way. You can filter through and find what you want if this ever loads up here. And you will be able to download these without leaving Illustrator. All you got to do is kind of click on the cloud icon next to the font, and it will go ahead and download that font for you. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And this is going to initialize, and there we go. So if I want to filter through and find some more, let's say, handwritten style fonts for some application that I'm using, I could go down here and go, okay, this one's kind of cool, Bookeye Sadie Roman, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and then I hit this little activate button, and it's going to say, hey, do you want to activate this font? Sometimes fonts have a couple different versions, like if it has an arrow, it's got a couple different versions of the font, and it should. There we go. It has now activated, so I can go up, grab this text, and type in Bookeye, and it should, oops, I got to unclear my filter, and try that again, Bookeye, there we go, right here. So I have now downloaded and activated that font. Again, not a font that looks that great in all caps, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. So you know some basic categories of fonts, how to filter out, sort through those. You know how to install your own fonts now, and you know how to explore and work with this menu. So on this first page, go ahead and do that, kind of explore, get 4 or 5 different types of fonts there, and make sure that you are learning how to use that text tool bar. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video.